Miss Mitchell, this is a complex malpractice case. Are you sure you're qualified to preside?
You may address me as Your Honor. And yes, I am fully qualified. Please proceed.
Sarah Mitchell had been sitting outside the courtroom for an hour, reviewing her notes one final time before everything changed. She was 34 years old, wearing her best suit from Target, and in 20 minutes she would walk into that Boston courtroom not as the receptionist she used to be, but as the judge presiding over the biggest case of her career. 10 years ago, Sarah worked the front desk at Whitmore & Associates law firm, where senior partner Richard Whitmore treated her like she was invisible. He snapped his fingers at her for coffee, never said thank you, and once told a client that Sarah was not smart enough to be a real lawyer, so they kept her at the desk where she could not do damage. What Richard never knew was that Sarah was attending Suffolk Law School at night, studying after her shift ended at 6, surviving on 3 hours of sleep. She never told anyone at the firm because she refused to give them the satisfaction of watching her struggle or fail. Sarah passed the bar exam on her first try and quietly resigned from Whitmore & Associates with a simple 2 weeks' notice. Richard barely looked up from his phone when she handed him the letter. 8 years later, after working as a prosecutor and then being appointed to the bench, Sarah was about to hear arguments in a massive malpractice case against Whitmore & Associates. Richard and his legal team walked into her courtroom that morning, and Sarah watched the exact moment recognition hit him. His confident stride faltered. His face went white. He leaned over to whisper frantically to his co-counsel, probably asking if they could request a different judge. Sarah's clerk announced, "All rise for the Honorable Judge Sarah Mitchell," and Richard had no choice but to stand. Sarah conducted the hearing with perfect professionalism, but when Richard tried his usual aggressive tactics that had worked for decades, she calmly shut him down, citing precedent he clearly had not bothered to research. His arguments fell apart under her questioning. The case centered on Richard's firm neglecting a client's medical malpractice claim, and the evidence was damning. After 2 days of testimony, Sarah ruled in favor of the plaintiff, awarding them $8.5 million. Richard's firm would have to pay, and their malpractice insurance premiums would destroy them. As Richard packed his briefcase, Sarah asked him to approach the bench. She reminded him quietly that the receptionist he dismissed had actually been smart enough to become the judge deciding his fate. Richard's firm dissolved within a year due to the financial impact and reputation damage. Sarah went on to serve with distinction for 15 years. Sometimes the person taking your coffee order is studying to sit where you will someday have to stand.